Okay, so today is the 11th of September in most of the world, except here in Sydney, where it's just past midnight on the 12th. And today's topic is going to be advanced server-side conversions. So I've got not really much to share in terms of slides, so we'll move over directly to what the issue that came across this week and what are the ways to set it up. So first I'll cover what the issue is. So let's say, for example, you've got some sort of decision tree. Let's assume you've got a whole quiz built. And at the end, you're presenting a bunch of offers that someone can select. Now, in this particular example, they are affiliate offers, but they could be your internal offers. If it's internal, then life becomes a little bit easier. So what you can do is, if it's going to be an internal offer, so let's say you've presented something on your results page or your thank you page or whatever, then all you have to do is to just add that and a server-side conversion like so here. So a webhook, and that would complete that scenario. So I'm just going to cover the basic use case first. So something like this, because you control the offer internally, and that's your webhook, and you can then redirect to a thank you page or to an external page or wherever, right? So that's not what we're talking about here. I've covered that many times over, and that's the easiest setup. If someone's struggling with this, please join the Lead2 group and post a question. More than happy to send you into the right direction. So we've got a situation here where someone is going to get an offer. So I'm going to show you an example. And so let's say they've ended up, obviously it'll be well designed and not something ugly like this. And there's an offer A. So, okay, you qualify for this, or you qualify for offer B. And so when I pick the offer, but because it's an affiliate offer, it obviously it's going to go to an external site because the offer belongs to a third party. It's not your own thing. So there's limitations in what you can track. So how do you fire a server-side event on there? So what I've got here is I've got this set up, and where a person is going to select their whatever offer they want to sign up for, or they could sign up for a few. So let's say insurance offer, things of that sort. I think the example that Sean had shared. Let me quickly go through here and just show you his setup. So that's the actual question right here, and he's let me just. Right. So what he's got is he's actually making an API call to a third-party insurance. It's an insurance marketplace basically, and he's bringing back all the insurance offers. And I want to go, hey, I want to click this, I want to click that, I want to click that. So this is the equivalent of what I'm sharing over here in a very simple way. And he wants to trigger a conversion event, a server-side conversion, because obviously when you click this, what's going to happen is it's going to go to a third party. So how do you trigger that on a click? So I showed him an initial setup, which I had shared a video of on the comment here, which is using Google Tag Manager to fire a server-side conversion from the client. And that can have issues, right? So I wasn't very happy with it, but it was a quick solution that I offered. And I said, let me go back to the drawing board and come back with a better solution. So this is a better solution. This is 100% server-side. And what are we actually doing is when you pick the offer, so let's say I pick offer A, what I'm doing is I've just got a decision node here where I am changing the URL. So let's say, for example, that's going to be my affiliate offer URL. And so if I select in this example, let's say I got offer A, I picked that. What it's going to do is it's going to, for this particular URL, it says ecom offer URL, it's going to replace it with the affiliate link, right? And you can do that across, so you have 100 offers, you do that across 100. I'm just showing you a basic version of it. And then what happens is that's the URL. So then what we do is then we fire the server-side conversion. So this is going to go and trigger into webhook.site. It's going to send, so it's basically a website. So webhook.site, if you have never used it, it's just it's a free site where they give you this unique URL, and it's listening to receive a payload. It's receiving a webhook. So if you ever want to test webhooks with a third party, such as Facebook or Google or whoever, this is usually where you come into your testing and just make sure so you can see what it looks like. I'll give you an example very shortly. And that way you can troubleshoot issues that you face rather than sending everything to Facebook and like, oh, it's not coming through. What does it look like? Well, oftentimes you may have, you may be sending the wrong parameters, for example, and therefore it's not triggering as a webhook. So it's a more of an interim place where you can do testing. right? So so in my case, all I'm doing is I'm setting a variable, and a variable is, it says Apple offer. And similarly on this side here, I'm replacing my URL with in real time as a person passes through that URL, that custom field, I should say, ends up with this URL. So I've got apple.com and amazon.com as my affiliate links in this case. And then I'm going to fire a server-side conversion, which is in this case a webhook, where if I go on the left, it gets Apple offer. If I go on the right, it's going to fire the Amazon offer. Now, these can all be variables, right? So I'm giving a very simple example. In reality, what you would do is you could actually just have one of these, and you can actually build multiple pathways, and you can say, if the answer was, so for example, I can do something like this, and if it's A, then I would replace my custom fields here, and if it was B, then I would do something else, and so on and so forth. So you can actually make it, you can make it look a little bit simpler. The reason why I split them up is because I wanted to give a simple example of what you can actually do. So you don't have to go and build 30 or 40 of these. You can have all of them in one by using the path. So when you go to the second route here, it will fire the second server-side conversion. And then what we're doing is we are redirecting to the URL itself, which is the affiliate link, right? So what it's doing is it's assigning the correct affiliate link upon the selection of the offer. This the user doesn't see, or the client, the lead doesn't see. This the lead doesn't see, and then it automatically redirects here. So let me give you a quick example here. I'm going to pick this one here, which is the Apple one, and as you can see here, it's going to redirect to Apple. Right. And so what's happening is that's going to basically go to my, but behind the scenes, what you can see is actually it fired the server-side conversion here. In this case, my server-side conversion is the Apple offer. Now, if I were to go and do that on the other side, so let's go ahead and go this and go and pick offer B in this case. Then what's happening is I'm going to go to amazon.com. So what's happening is as the person passes through the decision node, we are updating the redirect URL or the affiliate link URL or whatever you want to call it with that specific offer's affiliate link. And then what we're doing is we are triggering a server-side conversion. In this case, on the left-hand side, going for the Apple offer, on the right-hand side for the Amazon offer, and then we are basically just redirecting to our affiliate link using the redirect to the offer. All I've done is I've selected the immediate redirect, and it's going to immediately redirect because it already knows where to go, which is being assigned in real time with the variable that has been added, or the custom field that has been added above in the decision node. Any questions on this setup? Feel free to unmute the mic or post in the comment, or which is here, if there's any questions about this, or if something doesn't make sense that I'm explaining. So it's actually a very, very, when you think about it, it's actually a very simple setup. It looks, the problem looked complicated, but the solution is actually, for once, not quite as complicated as normally server-side stuff can get. So any questions on this before I move on and explain Facebook conversions? Because I think that was a question, and I believe Rudy is online. So yeah, thanks for jumping on the call at short notice. I'll share that shortly. Cool. There's no questions. That all made sense. I will go through and share the Facebook setup in this case, and then we'll open it up to questions if there's any questions for anybody else about any other issue. Okay, so if I go into the help desk here, in the help, you will see this really gory article about Facebook Conversions API. It looks gory because of the number of data requirements that are needed in order to make this whole thing work. Now, I want to just share with you, it's not that difficult once you actually get into the practice of it. The article is much more dangerous looking than the actual the actual setup, right? And I'll explain what this is using this little payload right here. I'll explain the payload and then explain how the whole thing works. Now, I don't know why Facebook has made this so complicated. It's listen. So I've done TikTok. We've done all the native networks. We've done Google, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's really not too many ad networks. I haven't set this up in some way or form. And for some reason, Facebook's just made it overly complicated. Perhaps, the Cambridge Analytica thing, got them spooked or something. I'm not quite sure why it's so complicated, but anyway, this is the rules we're being dealt, and this is the game we got to play. So firstly, what you're going to notice is that the payload that you send, now this is the equivalent of this right here, right? That's this part here is what this bit right is right here. So in this case, I am sending everything from this curly bracket all the way to that curly bracket. If I copy and paste this, I can add that in here, and that's going to basically be the payload that I'm sending to Facebook in this example, right? So that's just want to share with you what we're looking at here, some context. It's got a view content event. There's going to be a lead event. There's purchase event. There's a whole bunch of events that you have. Event time, I'll share that with you very shortly. So a lot of these custom fields that you're going to add here, they allow you to get to a 10 out of 10 match rate. Just to share with you that I'm just not making this stuff up. Where is Richard? There you go. Let me go and find Richard. Richard was kind enough to post. He gets 10 out of 10 match rates on Meta. As a result, he's from South Africa, so so for the South African audience, you can get 10 out of 10 match rates. As a result, you have an additional 20% extra conversion being reported, which has a material impact in your cost per acquisition, right? It's an unfair advantage. You set this up well, all of your campaigns across the board will just work better, right? And unfortunately, hardly anyone does this, so it is an unfair advantage. In fact, it's such an unfair advantage. I was presented at a live event a couple of months ago, and they were all, some of the top agencies in Australia were in the audience. And I said, okay, how many of you do, client-side conversions? And I said, how many of you use GTM? And the hands started going down as I got to GTM. And I said, okay, how many of you do client-side and server-side? And literally about 4 hands were up. And I said, how many of you do client-side, server-side, and deduplication? There were no hands were up. So if the best of the best don't know how to set this up, then you're at a massive advantage if you are just going to put a little bit of effort in and get this. Once again, this looks complicated when you're trying to set it up, but once you really get it, you're just cloning nodes and using it over and over again, right? So I just want to kind of really impress upon you that it is worth the effort to do it, especially if you are going to be doing paid traffic. Because once you've got Facebook set up, the same process of thinking is used for every other ad network on the planet. And in fact, you do a simpler version of the Facebook one that you do. So once you get Facebook, you pretty much have all of them covered. Yeah, the parameters they may use are different, the URLs they use a little bit different, but the structure is basically going to be the same. Right, so looking at the Facebook one, there are a couple of things that you need to have mandatory. Number one is obviously the URL where it was fired, so in which case it could be your domain. Event ID is, I'll share that with you very shortly, what to put in there. You have the client user agent. We provide you that as a custom field. Client IP address, we provide you that as custom field. FBC, FBP, we provide you those as custom fields. EM is email. Phone is phone. First name, last name, date of birth, gender, city, state, zip, country, and external ID. Now, why are these sitting as these squiggly line thingies like the alphanumeric sequence here and not a full email? Because Facebook requires you to send it hashed data. And once again, we've given you hashing as well inside LeadsHook itself. So I'll break all of this down. First, I'll show you where the custom fields are, so you can just replace them. And in fact, if you go down the page, right down here, right, so sorry. So first, before I do that, how does Richard get a 10 out of 10 match rate? Is because he's sending all this extra information across. Now, there's many other platforms out there that will tell you, hey, we do server-side out of the box, you don't have to do anything. The problem is that one of the setups, one of the components, or one of the things that are required for the setup is that you do send all this information back to Facebook. Unfortunately, nothing's going to work out of the box because you got to identify where the email field is. You got to identify where the phone field is. Perhaps you are sending multiple server-side conversions across your funnel. Well, you may not have captured the email address yet. So there's really no out-of-the-box solution per se, but it's not that hard. All you're doing is just copying and pasting and removing a few of the lines that don't apply. So for a view content event, let's say if someone has said, hey, I'm a male or female, if I wanted to trigger a server-side conversion after just that one question saying, are you male or female? Obviously, I've got country. I can get zip from the IP address. I can get state. I can get city. And I can get gender because they just answered whether they're male or female. But I don't have date of birth. I don't have last name, first name, phone, and email. So I would remove that from the payload that I'm sending. right? And so just to want to share with you. So as you get more data, you would just kind of add a few more lines back in. In fact, I've got a whole payload sitting at the bottom. All you do is you copy and paste it in, and you just replace or remove the lines that are not needed. Right. Let's go down to how do you identify and find all these fields? In this article, you'll see I share, hey, do this script and do that script. None of us, in fact, none of that is required now. So you can ignore bulk of the article and go directly to custom fields. If you go into admin, custom fields, and you will see that all of them are sitting right over here. So if I go to tracking, and you will see that we grab the FBC for you. We grab the FBP automatically for you. These are all the Google ones. There's a TikTok one right there. There's Bing as well. And we also grab, the Facebook click ID and so on and so forth, including all the URL params. So if you want to build it out, all you got to do is add this custom field in the place of this one right here. And it's going to add that variable in. It's going to look something like that, right? And so how do you do that? I'll share that with you right here. So you open this, you come down here, you would have whatever it's called. I'm going to type it in just for, it's called FBC. So it's going to be that FBC colon and that again, and add fields. I'm going to go FBC and click that right there and FBC. That's it. Close it. And what LeadZook will do, it'll replace the value automatically from that field into there, and it's going to send to Facebook. What about this little these alphanumeric sequences? What's going on there? Well, all that is a hash. It's hash data. So in your case, you would if I were to pass email across, I would do this colon that. I would add an email right here. And let's assume for argument's sake that you are using the system email field that we provide, like so. Having said that, this is going to send the actual email. So if I put nick at domain.com, it's going to send nick at domain.com, which is what Facebook does not want. It wants hashed data. So how do you send hashed data? Pretty simple. You go to field filters right here, and you go to hashing algorithms. Facebook requires you to send it 256, right? So you would do that little, whatever that vertical line is called. You'll grab that. So I'm just going to get this like so, come here and copy and paste. So what that does, it takes the email field and converts it to SHA 256. Now I know, because I've done this 1,000 times now, that these have to be lowercase. Facebook likes you to add in lowercase. Once again, I go to case explanation. There's my lowercase right there. So that's going to convert everything to lowercase. So all I do then is I would just add this like so, colon, lowercase, and that converts it to lowercase. And that's it. That's all I'm doing there. It's going to take the email field that's already got and let's say someone is typing in with all caps or whatever it happens, it's going to convert that to lowercase. If it's already in lowercase, then nothing happens. And it's going to convert that to SHA's 256. It's going to look something like this, and it's going to send that off to Facebook in the server side. And that's all you're doing. Now, if you look, I'm just going to quickly scroll out a bit and go right to the bottom. So you can ignore the rest of the article. You can come right to the end here. And I think I have got, there you go. There's the whole thing sitting right there. So all I do is I grab that, copy, and I would come in and paste it right here. That's it. Done. Your tracking is done. All the fields have already been added in for you, so on and so forth. And you can just give it a quick test. And there you go. I've even given you examples of this. Obviously, date of birth, you want to make sure that you put the field in there with the hashing thing, and so on and so forth. All right, and that's it. And gender and city and state. Now, zip, city, and state, if you are not asking your lead for city, country, state, and all that, you can actually get that from the fields that we have. We give you all these geo fields. When anybody lands on any one of your DTs, we automatically grab a lot of data from the IP address. So we have the country, we've got the country, so on and so forth. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to add in city here, I would do this, and I would search for city, grab the blue one right here, and I would do this, grab that, and because I know that I'm hashing it, and it's SHA 256. That's it. That's your city data done. So any custom field that you're using, just make sure that if hashing is required, you add the little vertical line with 256. And the reason why we've added in quite a few of the other ones is because even now some people use MD5, some lead distribution platforms use MD5, and I'm guessing at some point in the future they'll want us to use 384 or maybe even 516. So we just added it in while we were working on this feature about 4 years ago. We've added it in already. So that way, if there's any need for, or perhaps you're using some new platform that has got some extra requirements around hashing, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is just add this little filter in, and all your conversion is done. And this, in a nutshell, is how you basically set up Facebook server side. I know it looks very complicated from the doc, but essentially this is the quick and dirty version of it. And so now, if you are going to get someone else to do it for you, at least you know what the job is now. So it's not that difficult. They're copying and pasting a little bit of payload and replacing a bunch of stuff. So hopefully, no one rips you off by charging you, $2,000 or some crap to basically add this in, especially with LeadSource. I can't speak for other platforms. Inside LeadSource, it's really, not a difficult job for someone who's set a few of these up previously, because most of the fields would be the same across the board, no matter who you're using, right? So that's it's same across the board. And that's it. That's the setup for server side conversions. Yeah, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Otherwise, I will drop the article in here in case you do want to learn a bit more. And the reason, okay, so I should explain deduplication, because that's the other one that gets everybody a little bit stuck. Deduplication is essentially where I'm going to save and exit, where you actually fire something on the client side and then you fire something on the server side. So an example that would be is I'm firing a lead event from here. So let's pick, in order to set everything up, I go to GTM. I'm going to turn this on to activate the client side setup. I have a GTM container right there. I'm doing Facebook. Just add in my pixel. I'm going to add my download that, upload that. That's done. Save. As soon as you do that, on your final node or wherever you're going to fire the event, you're going to have an event like so. You would select, let's say it's $50 or whatever, and pick your currency. Most people use USD, so I'm just going to pick that for the purpose of the example. And that's it. Now, since you're firing it on the client side, you also want to fire that on the server side, and that's the way they do deduplication. So what you're telling Facebook is, is I'm sending you information about my conversion from the client, which is the pixel, and I'm also sending it to you from the server. I want you to don't double count. And the thing that does not double count is actually this thing right here. Where is it? It's called the event ID. So we make sure that the event ID, that's why it's a variable. So the event ID from the client and the event ID from the server are both the same. That tells Facebook that hey, it's the same person. In fact, you got to send that, and you also got to send these two as well, right? So there's a whole requirement for deduplication. I found a little bug in their documentation. They request you to send only one or two things. If you use the setup that I've given you, you actually send all 4 pieces of information that they have said 2 of them are optional. They're not. Send them. Otherwise, your conversions just won't go to 10 out of 10. Unfortunately, that was I had to go down the rabbit hole one day to work that out. So someone just had set up as per the docs, which suggested you only need one of these, and I think one of these or something. And I'd never tested that. I actually always sent all 4 pieces of information that they ask you for deduplication, 2 of them being optional. And it always worked for me. So I couldn't understand why it wasn't working. And when I examined their setup, I realized they had not used the setup that I had suggested in my article. As a result, they were having those issues. The only thing you can remove from here in your payloads is essentially this part right here, which is where you have not captured the information. And that's perfectly fine. But otherwise, once you've captured the information, there's no reason not to send all this extra information to it, to Facebook. And really, it does give you a 10 out of 10 match rate, which means it's actually able to identify 20 to 30% more conversions. Therefore, it's able to show your ads to the right audience much faster, quicker, and easier. All right. Does that explain the whole thing? Rudy, do you have any follow-up questions on this? No.
Can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah, I can, loud and clear.
Great. I think that explained it quite well. Thank you very much
No
for
problem.
inviting me. And yes, so I have one question. I have to remove the data that I don't collect through my decision tree in the payload. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. I'm going to give you an example. So let's say, for example, this is the current payload that I've got, which has obviously got name and email and that sort of stuff. Then now in order to do that, I would have to ensure that I've got, let's say, for example, a form or something sitting above it where I have captured that information, such as, name, email, and phone number. So let's just go first name, last name, and email. Now, since I've got first name, last name, and email, I can actually use, I'm just going to call it form. I can actually use that here because I've already captured that information. So since I added in 3 fields, I added in the email field, first name and last name. So I would remove this one right here because obviously I haven't captured the form yet. I haven't captured the phone number yet. So if you wanted to, what you could do is you could do something like this. And there's nothing stopping you from doing this, all right? So you can actually do multiple events. And once again, depends on how you're tracking, how you're setting up, like so. And I can actually now add in another one. So like this, and come here, and I can actually add in, so in this case, I'm going to remove all this. I'm just going to put mobile or something. Yep, there you go, mobile field. And I'm going to remove the rest of them because I obviously captured those previously. So this node only has mobile. Let's just replace that so make it a little bit clear, mob, like so. And now what I can do is I can actually duplicate this one here because this one I did not remove. And now I can actually have the, oops, we'll grab it from here. Oops, grab that. Okay, let's just copy, go here. And in this one, I can actually leave my phone number because I've already captured first name, last name, and now I'm adding in the phone number. So as you can see here, as I'm going down the decision tree, I can actually fire a server-side conversion at every step if I wanted to, and some people do that. But I just got to make sure that I'm not sending any blanks across. But otherwise, so as you can see here, for this one here, I removed the phone number, but for this one here, I've left the phone number in because now I've captured the mobile phone number here. Cool. Does that answer the question?
Yes. I have a follow-up question. The
Sure.
placement of the webhook node for the conversion, is that an issue? Because earlier this day, I actually did, I built the payload, everything. I actually went through that document you just shared. But I fired it just before the form. Oh, no, sorry. I did after.
So you're gonna fire. Okay, so I guess it depends on what you're doing. So if you're firing a view content event where someone has just answered a bunch of questions, then yeah, absolutely you can fire whatever you want, whenever you want. But obviously, if you're looking to fire a form, then you got to make sure that the form data has been captured. Therefore, the webhook will be sitting under the form because the data that you're going to capture will be above the webhook.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I just misspoke there. It was below the form.
Okay.
But when I tried to test it on the live form, it actually, I don't know if it was a bug or if it was a placement issue or something. But it filled in the form, it filled in some like the hash data, for example. I think it was the hash data. Like in the form, it actually like filled in the form with hash data, which was very weird.
Okay. You know what? Why don't you send it through to us? Maybe we'll make a little video as you're going through it. So give us some context. If you and if you don't have Loom or something, you can feel free to just use this bit right here and go record screen and just press the record button. I'm just gonna go select that, and you can actually you've got I believe we give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes and just there's 2 minutes of recording time. It's recording right now, so you can say, hey guys, it's supposed to do this or do that or whatever. And that way it gives us a little video on what you're actually experiencing, rather than us trying to go back and forth, trying to work out what exactly is going on. So that way, if you can show it to us, what we'll do is we'll take it from there by watching the video, and we can get back to you with a video answer of what the issue is with your setup. Because we've obviously got thousands of users using this setup now, so it works at scale. Otherwise, guys like Richard would not be getting 10 out of 10. So we'll examine the setup and just make sure nothing funky is going on, or perhaps and hopefully that you've actually replaced these. With the first thing I would check, just make sure that you've replaced it with custom fields and not left my previous this alphanumeric thing here. But just send it through to us. We'll examine it and get back to you with the answer.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cool, no problem.
That's all from my side.
Okay, awesome. No, I'm glad you jumped on the call and I was able to explain this to you. Any other questions from anybody else? Hey, Nico, any follow-up questions on this? Anything that didn't make sense? Or Jay?
No, thanks, Nick.
Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, we'll open it up to any other questions that you might have. Anything that you're working on that is troubling you? Ads, landers, whatever. Feel free to pop them in the chat, and yeah, I will. I can give you a second opinion or third opinion, or rip it to shreds, depending on on how bad you need the treatment. Yeah, I can. So if there's anything of that sort that's troubling you, please feel free to share that, and I'm more than happy to break it down for you if there's any issues. But if there's not, then we'll call it a day, and same time, same place next week. Okay, cool. No, awesome. All right, thank you, Rudy. So I do this every week, so feel free to jump on the call every week, and yeah, okay. I cover a small topic and we go through and break it down just like the way we did today. I think next week we're going back to hooks and stuff. Last week was a marketing topic. Today we went for something technical, and next week we'll go back to something marketing. Unless during the week something pops up that needs my attention, then I'll introduce it in the video here. Otherwise, okay, well, there's no more questions. Then we'll do it same time, same place next week. Have a lovely week, guys, and we'll chat soon. Thank you.
Cheers, Nick. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.